Well, I'd mentioned on Heli Freak one day I was going to go work on my field box, and somebody asked about seeing it, and then a few others have asked about seeing it now. So we're going to do a quick guided tour of my field box. Just a Plano tackle box. I had and Plano is the name, not a plain old Plano tackle box that I had laying around. I built a wooden box for the transmitter and another box for this metal tin. With what I read about LiPos, I wanted to be safe on my batteries, so I have a metal tin to keep them in. My batteries are numbered so I can keep up with them, kind of know their history. There's no number 2 for number 2 already died. But the tin slides right in there, and so hopefully if they go while it's in this state, the tin controls things. The transmitter box, I'm going to probably modify and make a new version so it protects these switches, comes up on the corners to and the sides to protect these corner switches a little better. But the way the antenna goes is with it sloping over, it's kind of protected, so trying to keep it from anything potentially hanging up on it and breaking something off. In the box is blue insulation foam, and I shaved it out, carved it out to make it, fit the face of the transmitter, such as the dial there. And you just take it and slide it into place and push the antenna forward, and you're ready to go. In the bottom tray here we have just blade repair parts, my tape, extra batteries for the transmitter, some Velcro, but pretty much my parts storage. Most of them are on the Heli at this point in time since we've crashed twice. Kind of a liquids tray, so to speak. Got my markers and hobby knife blades, my Loctite, some hemostats and scissors and so forth, grease and Tri-Flow. A lot of people have a hard time finding Tri-Flow. You might try a bike shop. Just found out somebody else found it in bike shops, little mom and pop hardware stores. Some Q-tips, some sandpaper, pin light. It's handy for looking up into the chassis of the Heli without disassembling it, and some files. So that's tray number 2. And tray number 3 is pretty much tools. Well, it is tools. My commonly used Allen heads. These are pretty nice too, by the way. I had picked these up at the local hobby shop. They came highly recommended, but and I like them with the little spinner cap on there. Makes it easy to screw things in fast. My metric scale dental tool. Over here we have our standard and Phillips screwdrivers, some wire ties, magnetizing tool, demagnetizing tool, my Dremel bits, Allen heads I don't use, some larger wire ties, some heat shrink, so forth, solder. Solder and iron I don't keep in here because that's more of a home thing for right now. I've thought about putting it in here and I've got room, but I'm basically trying to keep everything in here that I need to keep flying in the field should something happen. I've got my RADS book and my manuals. Here in the top we have a dial micrometer. You could probably get away without a dial one, but a micrometer is very handy to measure, when you're disassembling, to take measurements and to be able to get things back within close range. You're still going to have to tweak, but at least you get in the ballpark. My dad gave me that wonderful gift some time back. If you're working on your Heli, screw drops and hit your table or your hard surface, it's going to bounce like a candy machine gumball or super ball. So I have this fender towel or fender blanket that I lay out on the table, and if a screw falls and hits it, it absorbs the energy so the screw doesn't bounce off into the floor and lost forever. Spare boom, and it just happens to fit across the back very nicely. We've got another bin of assorted parts. This is a packet that came from Horizon Hobbies, but of all the little teeny tiny guys you may lose, plus of some few replacement ball ends, a few parts for tail rotor I haven't needed yet, thank goodness. Got our chargers. My blade balancer. Under the balancer is my pitch guide, and it's just the E-Flight pitch guide. Neck strap, magnifying glass, a little notebook, our blade holder. I've got my pliers, and by the way, everybody's been talking about bowling pliers for the blade. These are my bowling pliers that came from unfortunate plug here, Hobbytown, USA. Well, not unfortunate, but at any rate, no writing on them whatsoever, so I have no idea who makes them, but I got them a few years back. A little metal tin here, candy tin, very handy when you disassemble your heli, put your parts in. You know, you use this side just as on the work table if you wanted to kind of keep up with pieces. If it's going to be a little bit before you're going to be able to finish the repair, shut it up and you got all your screws in there and they're not going anywhere. We have a little multimeter from Radio Shack, very inexpensive, handy thing. And by the way, guy taught me this trick, didn't believe him, but if you put your batteries in backwards, they're actually in backwards. This head should be down. If you put them in backwards, it won't run your battery down. If I had them in the correct way, it would drain the battery just sitting there in no time. These batteries have been in this little thing for quite a few years. I say that now and they're going to die on me. But put them upside down, it doesn't hurt a thing. A little bottle of silicone oil. This actually came out of a spray silicone can, but I shot it into this little bottle that used to have some scented oil in it. And instead of, a lot of people put Tri-Flow on their belt. I don't myself do it. I use silicone. I've always used it for things like that to keep them soft and supple. And I just stick a Q-tip down in the bottle and it saturates the head, and I stick it in the examination port on the heli and just roll it and oil it from the outside. I mean, I oil it from the inside as well, but just to keep it maintained, I apply from the outside. So if I can get everything back in here, something didn't go in right. It all fits well, I know. You saw it come apart, so those pliers. It's hard to do this all with one hand, so. And it's a battery Dremel, by the way, battery charged, but I don't really recommend them. My corded one is just really old and it's wore out, so I'll use this one until I really break down and buy a new one, but I'd get a corded one, carry around a 12-volt power supply with it. I have one in my truck, so power in the field is not a problem. And my handy little wind guide I made up from a link somebody showed me on HeliFreak. So until I get a wind gauge, how I can read the air and see what's happening in the trees and so forth, and get an idea of the airspeed. And now I'm going to get laughed at for being so anal. Oops, sorry for the word. For being so regimented. So if I wanted to go to the club and go fly, I grab my box, I grab my heli. No more having to carry, you know, all this other stuff in your hands loose. So I've got that, and of course the camera bag, and we're off to the flying field. Hope it gives you some ideas. Would love to see what you guys have, so post your threads, helifreak.com, and let's see what your field box is like.